Highway security a worry. More discussion on HIV and AIDS. And East New Britain's underground trade.
This is National EMTV News with Helen Sayer.
Good evening and thank you for joining me for Monday's news. Bulolo MP and Deputy Opposition Leader Sam Basil says the tough penalties to be imposed by the government on compensation claimants and opportunists along the Highlands Highway is long overdue. Basil said the delays by the government is forcing businesses to fork out their own money to keep the road open. The comments come after a transport company owner negotiated the reopening of the highway by paying 100,000 kina last week.
The roadblocks caused by landslips along the Simbu section of the Highlands Highway prompted some strong words from the president of the Road Transport Association and owner of Mapai Transport, Jacob Luke. Last week, he negotiated the opening of the highway after a near 2-week delay caused by the landslips and opportunists seeking compensation. Today, the deputy opposition leader said the government's decision to impose tough penalties on people who prevent traffic flow is long overdue.
We would have expected that governments in the past would have enacted stronger laws to hold these people responsible. But yet again, we see that every time we wait for something to happen before we react.
As the flow of traffic returns in the Highlands, Basil has also reiterated concerns of the imbalance of transport infrastructure spending on Port Moresby and the Highlands Highway, which represents close to half the country's economy.
Stop building those expensive roads in the main cities and now turn your focus back to the Medang Highway, to the Leh Highway and the Hidden Valley Road and also the Namatanai Highway.
Along the Markham Valley, there are similar problems. The lack of funding attention has resulted in chronic disruptions caused by flooding. Similar concerns were raised in December by Goroka MP Biraki Misopa, who pointed out that the cost of doing business in the Highlands had risen over the last 20 years due to the deterioration of the Highlands Highway. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Leh.
Works and Implementation Minister Francis Awesa says the government will not entertain compensation claims by communities along national highways. He said damaged sections of the Highlands Highway will be fixed by concerned government authorities. Minister Awesa said the National Executive Council will meet this week to formulate legislations. He described the compensation claims as nonsense.
So this sitting of Parliament, we're going to introduce legislation to penalize people who are involved in compensation claims unnecessarily. And the highway is a lifeline for a lot of people. And 1 or 2 people who are already lucky and they happen to be near the road cannot stop everybody from moving.
3 major bridges along the Hiritano Highway of Central Province were officially opened today. The 3 bridges cost a total of 110 million kina under the Works and Implementation Bridge Replacement Program. Works Minister Francis Awesa says the program will continue in other provinces identified by the department.
It took nearly 18 months for contractor China Arbor Engineering to complete the 2-lane bridge at the Laloki River outside Port Moresby. Minister responsible Francis Awesa and Secretary David Were were present this morning to officially open the bridge.
Unlike before, we set out to replace these bridges and it's been delivered substantially as far as I'm aware.
The opening also signifies the use of the other 2 bridges, Angabanga and Brown River. All 3 are built using the same model. A model the Works Department believes will overcome any possible natural disaster.
This one is modern, it's here to last, it will last a long time. It's a world-class bridge, all 3 of them, and all other bridges are the same.
The Works Secretary says most bridges have been replaced, but the program will continue throughout the country.
The 3 bridges here total up to 320 meters. Which now, to this date, gives us more than 800 meters. We have maintained and delivered, replaced 1,020 meters of bridges all around the country.
The work's bridge replacement program is currently ongoing with financial support from the Asian Development Bank, JICA, USAID and the PNG government.
We got more bridges around the country in the East Sepik, West Sepik provinces, Western Britain, and some of the other provinces.
The Laloke Bridge will connect to the 4-lane road leading into the city. Jack Lapawe Jr., National MTV News.
Sepe Auti village in the Southfly district of Western Province is the 158th and final village to sign the Community Mine Continuation Agreement with Ok Tedi Mining Limited. The signed agreement not only allows for Ok Tedi to continue its operations along the Southfly area, but will now bring much-needed services to the village. The ceremony was witnessed by the Sepe Auti community, leaders and OTML executives last Friday.
On Friday, a group of OTML executives traveled by plane and then by boat to sign the last Community Mine Continuation Agreement, or CMCA, with leaders from Sepe Auti. Sepe Auti is one of many isolated villages in the Southfly region. It sits at the end of the CMCA corridor, a corridor that OTML operates and is obliged to deliver needed services to communities affected by mining operations. The signing ceremony, witnessed by hundreds, marks a new beginning of the Sepe Auti community. It also gives OTML the right to continue its operations and in return compensate the community through viable development. For the villagers, it means more than just a signed agreement. Women representative Tuani Koda says for years they have been missing out on benefits that came with the CMCA agreement.
We should not blame OTML for not assisting us under the CMCA program, because we did not sign the agreement. Therefore, I am now very happy to sign now, and this will make it possible for me to receive these services in full now.
OTML Deputy CEO Musewera says the signing signifies the community's desire to be part of the CMCA family and to participate in development opportunities. He says this will now give OTML the right to enter the community, and he adds the people to work closely with the company.
This agreement is very, very powerful, people of Sepe Auti. This agreement. Once your leaders put in mark inside Logia, that gives Ok Tedi, OTDF the right to come and talk to you.
He added the benefits from the agreement will start now and people mustn't blame OTML for missing out for years.
Once you sign this agreement, the benefits that is for Sepe Auti will come to you.
The agreement was signed by Community Representative Fred Awai and witnessed by Dudi Trust Women Representative Rebecca Makek. Stanley Ove Jr., National MTV News.
The churches are taking a bold step forward in better understanding issues surrounding prostitution and homosexuality in the country by staging a HIV and AIDS summit. Scheduled to be in March this year, it will be hosted by the PNG Christian Leaders Alliance on HIV and AIDS.
At the announcement briefing today, Cardinal Sir John Ribbert was represented by the General Secretary of the PNG Council of Churches, Reverend Roger Joseph, who read out the Cardinal's speech.
The purpose of the first HIV/AIDS Summit is to unite the heads of churches in Papua New Guinea to meet and to discuss on critical issues such as stigma and discrimination, gender-based violence, human rights, and issues affecting the key populations, and to make recommendations as a way forward to address those issues collectively with one concerted voice.
With less than 2 months until the summit, which is scheduled for the 15th and 16th of March, it will become a historical summit for the country.
Our three main outcomes are to have the leaders to have better understanding of how they would actively be involved and participate in any HIV advocacy at their level as church leaders. We understand that the issue of GBV is now a big issue in our country, and we want to help our church leaders to recognize GBV and other sensitive issues as major contributors to the spread of HIV transmission in the country, abuse and violence of human rights. Understand the context of some of the laws, punitive and discriminative laws on key populations, and how they would advocate for an enabling environment for the key populations.
The agenda is geared towards sensitizing the churches towards working more effectively with other stakeholders of HIV and AIDS, even those who work in areas that are considered taboo for the churches.
The issues the churches are heavily involved in terms of actually implementing HIV/AIDS programs and services on the ground. In terms of providing services to the key populations, the key populations are accessing services from the churches. So now it's about the church leaders to take a more proactive approach in terms of more to reactive.
Scheduled to be held in Port Moresby, the summit support team are working on raising 700,000 kina to stage this summit, and they are appealing for others to help as well.
I understand the country is currently going through tough times with regards to finance. However, whatever little you give with an open and willing heart towards supporting the HIV/AIDS summit for the heads of churches in Papua New Guinea, I would say is an investment in the right place.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Family values need to be strengthened for the common good of the Papua New Guinea societies. General Secretary of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Papua New Guinea and the Solomon Islands, Father Victor Roach, says that this can be achieved if churches play their role in nourishing the Family Life Foundation. Father Victor says the world can become a better place to live in, free from harm and violence, if all authorities work together to improve the life of individuals and living standards.
Father Victor made this call following his attack over the weekend at the Gordon's Market in Port Moresby, where 5 men ransacked him and walked off with his personal belongings.
And I was shouting, throwing my legs and hands and trying to hit them, but then in 2 minutes the operation was over.
Gordon's Market has become a breeding hub for opportunists, making it unsafe for the public to enjoy the freedom of movement. Father Victor predicted more petty crimes will increase in such hotspots like Gordon's this year because the focus will be on the national general election.
Now the situation is worse because election is around the corner. And so there should be an increase of police personnel, maybe patrolling the streets, or maybe give surprise visits to these places so that there is safety and security to the common man.
On a personal note, Father Victor says youths taking part in illegal activities like stealing indicates the lack of family values instilled within oneself and their families.
The family values are brought up right when they are children. It's a fact that there are lots of broken families. There are lots of broken marriages. And so the children of such marriages, they are not brought up well with the family values. And maybe the majority of the rascals are from such families.
And this also calls for a need for the government to address the unemployment rate of the country.
There should be a certain amount of percentage of the budget to be given to these youth who are unemployed. And I'm sure there are possibilities of community college or projects that can help these people back to the mainstream of the society, and they should be employed in such a way that takes away the direction of criminal activities.
Father Victor says Citizens of this country have the right to enjoy their freedom of movement without any disturbances. Fabian Haklitz, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Acting Police Commissioner Rafael Huafolo says aviation authorities must consider the use of air marshals in all international flights for security reasons. He expressed this following an incident last week in an Air Niugini international flight to Singapore. Mr. Huafolo said the seriousness of this incident warrants the need for all relevant government agencies to put in place measures to prevent such an incident from occurring again. Meanwhile, Air Niugini stated that the matter was reported to authorities in Singapore, with PNG authorities also investigating the incident. The production and consumption of marijuana and homebrew remain the main contributors of law and order problems in East New Britain province. The police say they are doing what they can to break these underground trade links, but they need help from the communities, as most of their efforts to curb the problem still amounts to very little. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
These pictures give a glimpse into the production and consumption of distilled alcohol or homebrew in East New Britain province. Once processed, a container like this can fetch up to 10 kina on the streets. For those who produce it, it is fast money. But for the police, it is illegal and a big contributor to lawlessness in the province.
I'm really concerned as well, and I'm getting my men in drug police specialists in drug. Okay, they are here. They've got their own office.
But homebrew is not the only problem. Undetected large quantities of marijuana end up in the province from Leh and the highlands, while others are grown and sold locally.
They are cultivating this marijuana, and we've got information, and my men, they're working around the clock to uproot those and get those involved arrested and charged for this illegal drugs and all this.
For those who are not so lucky, end up here at the Kerawat prison, and the prison officers told me marijuana and homebrew alone make up the biggest number of inmates who come here every week. Most of them are youths.
Drug offenses aside from marijuana, maybe high. All right, behind long maybe come down and consumption of illicit spirit. And second,
while there are laws that deemed these items illegal, those who produce and sell it don't pay much attention to it. And to a larger extent, the police rely on community participation to provide information before arrests can be made. But that is a step that East New Britain province hasn't fully achieved yet. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Sea piracy is a big problem in the Morobe waters, and to address this problem, police in Morobe have stationed 3 personnel in the Morobe patrol post area to deal with the ever-increasing sea piracy reports. Assistant Commissioner of Police for Northern Region Peter Guinness said Huon District has assisted police with 3 boats to patrol the Morobe coastline. Guinness said 12 officers have started work last Thursday after completing a basic training course at the Maritime College in Medang.
Police in Morobe have stationed 3 personnel in the Morobe patrol post area to look into reports of sea piracy along the Morobe coastal waters. There has been reports of criminals getting away after robbing passengers on boat. This is due to the lack of a water policing unit. However, ACP for Northern Region Peter Guinness said this will all change as police are working with the UN district through its local MP to address this problem.
We've got 3 boats in Leh, and we will continue to acquire with the assistance of the Honourable Member for Huon Galva, who's been very, very supportive in supporting the concept of water police in Morobe. So very much so, in the next couple of weeks, we will be doing our launching at Morobe Patrol Post.
Member for UN